Hey, what's going on YouTube? Wanted to make a custom here. There's a Chevy Sonic that a guy did a really neat one-off custom of. He took the back end off and made it into a kind of like a mini little pickup truck. You guys gotta check this out. I own a Chevy Sonic, which is how I came across this guy's custom, and it was just such a neat idea. I thought I'd make my own, and of course there aren't any die-cast versions of Chevy Sonic, so I'm gonna use this Ford Fiesta here and see if I can recreate it using this. Let's get at it. First things first, gotta drill it out. First thing I want to do is make kind of a first cut across the top, come across the back end here on both sides, and free up that roof, and then figure out where the line is going to be for the top edge of the bed. There's a nub on the roof here that I want to get filed down before I cut the back half of the roof off, just so the body's whole and I have something to hold on to while I'm filing it. And that should just about do it. With my jeweler saw, I'm going to make a rough cut along the top of the roof and make a very rough cut across the windows here just to remove this portion, and then I'll file it down to where I want the line to be at exactly. And I'm definitely doing this off camera because I can't lean over like this and make my cut at the same time. Just made my last cut and I should be able to just bend this out of here. There we go. Back end is off, very crude cut, but that's gonna allow me to file it and get it exactly where I want it. And here's the file I'm gonna use to get the bulk of the metal off. I know it's on the end of a saw blade, which is kind of sketchy, but it's got some really gnarly teeth on it, so I'm gonna get at big stuff first, and then I'll come back in with my diamond file, and I'll clean up the edges. Alright, we've got the hole for our bed of the truck cut out. I trimmed up the windshield, as well as the roll cage. Let's put it back together, see where we're at. And there we go, pretty sweet start. Got a really nice space in the back for the bed to be made. Figure out what I'm gonna do about that whole basket and light bar that the guy had on the top of his. I definitely want that on mine. It was a pretty unique feature. I was racking my brain trying to think of ways I could build the inside of the bed. And I needed something that was slightly flexible so I could bend it around the curve in the back here. And I thought I would use a card from a Hot Wheels. And I'm hoping that it holds up with paint. It should. And I'm going to make the back window from the blister off the same card. Might be a little difficult. I'm going to have to cut 8 little pieces here and get them all to work together. Wish me luck. Alright, a bit of a pain, but I got the mock-up for the back panel done. Got the hole cut out for where the window's gonna go. Now I just have to build the rest of the pieces all the way around. I'm realizing now that it's gonna be a lot easier to put those pieces in if I glue them in individually as I'm making them. So, jump ahead a few steps. I gotta get the paint off of this first to get the body ready, and then we can start gluing in those individual pieces for the bed. Got the car soaking in some acetone here. We'll come back in a little while, scrub the paint off it. This is how much paint I was able to get off, which is enough. And then I went around and sanded it so you won't see any of those paint spots that are on there. I'm starting to build up the walls around the bed, so I've got a piece of tape on here holding that top piece. I also have my back panel in with the window. Decided I really didn't like the green windshield and the green headlights, so I swapped it out for a blue one off of this buddy. Well, I've got 4 sides in. Now I just have to work on getting that base in. I'm gonna let these sides dry a little bit more before I do the base. And just like that, we have a bed. Gotta say, I'm pretty happy with how that came out. I wasn't sure how I was gonna do it. I'm glad the card worked. And once the glue dries, I can go in and clean up all those edges, and we'll be ready for primer and paint. It's been about 24 hours now since I've done my gluing on the bed. We're outside so I can spray some primer. Alright, well there's the bottom. I'm gonna give that about 10 minutes. We'll flip it over, we'll do the top. And with the primer coat on, I can see all the imperfections that are in the bed. So I'm gonna have to go through and skim it with something, and then we'll do a final sanding, and then we'll be ready for paint. All right, I've got the body in the bed to where I want it. I'm gonna give it one more coat of primer, and then we'll be ready for paint. Well, I'm pretty happy with how it came out. Got that second coat of primer on there. I'm gonna start painting now. The guy's custom was a really drab olive green, so I kind of mixed up a drab olive green here. I'm gonna start by painting the interior. Alright, and there's the interior. I'm pretty happy with the color for the interior, but I think it's a little bit too dark for what I was actually going for. So I'm going to lighten it up a little bit for the outside. I'm going to add another pretty hefty blob of white here. See if I can't tone the paint down a little bit. Yeah, that's going to look a lot better. While that's drying, we can go work on the base. And I'm just gonna keep it simple. It's hard to see into this casting anyways, so the interior is just gonna go gloss black, and we're gonna give it a nice wheel swap. All right, now we're gonna prime the interior. All right, our primer's dry. Time to do some gloss black. And here's the base. I have it finished with a matte clear coat and some really nice 5-spoke wheel riders to match the same 5 spokes that the guy had on his custom. And I pulled this basket off of a Matchbox Jeep that my son had been playing with, and it was pretty beat up, so I didn't feel bad pulling it off. It was way too big though for the top of the Fiesta, so I cut out 4 sections, one on each side, and I took out all the stuff that was in the interior of it. Not sure why, but I left the antenna. I thought it was something neat, just something different. And then I'll glue the 2 halves together, and then I'm going to use paper clips to make the little bars going across. Pretty simple. I'll paint it black, and then we'll throw it on the roof. Now I want to start working on that back window. Got a piece of plastic cut from a blister of a Hot Wheels. I'm just going to trim that down to a rectangle and glue it on the inside. I hope that's showing up okay. I got the plastic into the back window. Now I just gotta glue it into place. While the window's drying, I'm gonna paint the fender flares. Fender flares are now painted. I'm gonna start working on the rack on the roof now. All right, we got the rack almost ready to go. I need to build the bars that are on it. And for that, I'm gonna use a paper clip, and I'm gonna cut about 4 or 5 little bars to go across it. All right, I got my first bar in, and I got 4 more to go. And here's the base of our rack all finished. Now we can prime it and paint it black. And here's the finished result. I'm pretty happy with it. I think the basket on top sits maybe a little bit taller than it should. Down the road, I might trim it, lower it up a little bit. But other than that, pretty darn happy with it. I think it came out pretty good. It's a good representation of what that guy had done. I'll leave a link for the video of the car down in the description below. You guys should go check it out. It's a quick video. I appreciate everyone for hanging out. Hope you guys are out hunting. Hope you guys are out finding cool things, doing cool things. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.